So I ran out of frets, you know. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tom's Guitar Show. I'm Tom. They call me Guitar Tom because I'm often seen with a guitar. And they, well, you know, they used to have a call-in show, and they call me on the phone, and they'd ask me questions like this: say, "Hey, man, what's your show about?" So it's about an hour about guitars, guitar playing, all things guitaristic. So if we haven't even hooked the phone up, but if you did want to call me, which you can't, you could ask me questions about the care and feeding of your guitar, what kind of guitar is right for you. How to play the guitar. It's kind of my thing. Or, you know, related topics like the guitarron, guitarras, sitars, lutes, ouds, vihuelas, banjos, balalaikas, bazookas, bajos, sextos, tifles, cavaquinhos, bandurias, bandolins, mandolins, mandoras, and mandolas. Anything like that. I mean, did I say banjos, balalaikas, bazookas? I probably did. I say that every week. But anyway. Trombones, trombomarinas, pipe organs, piccolos, harmoniums, harpsichords, harmonicas, you know, whatever. Anything you make music on is fine with me. Politics, world events, your own personality problems. But primarily this is a guitar show. So I usually do guitar. Sometimes we do ukulele, sometimes we do banjo. I do want to do a big bass guitar show. Well, the usual, 60 minutes of me wasting your time, but I'd like to waste your time with my bass guitar, a couple of my bass guitars that I have, because I have opinions about frets, So anyway, this is an older Fender, Mexican Fender Telecaster, which when I got it had white pickguard. It was kind of stained because it had been in a box since it was new, and I think 2008. And it, does it say here? Let's see what it says. I could probably find out. Hang on a second. I'm curious. It says, wow, 6. Is it possible this is a 2006? Well, anyway, in the Mexican plant, when it was new, Fender built their state-of-the-art guitar factory in Mexico, just down the coast from the one that they have in Corona, California, USA. This is in Baja, California, Mexico. So I got this guitar and had this all changed because you see the decal, the Fender logo thing there had kind of bled through and stained the white pickguard. And I don't like the white that much anyway. And it was really noisy. The pickups were noisy. So I had this one tricked out with these DiMarzio Area T pickups and and then this tortoiseshell pickguard, so it makes it kind of. I have a number of guitars as anybody who's watched my show can attest to, over time I acquire guitars.
You're not upstairs tonight.
No, did you go up there?
Yeah.
Oh no, I was upstairs last week.
Yeah, but I thought the studio was closed.
No, we're back open again. Yeah, Bob is here. Prodigal Bob has returned. Donna's in the control room, and all we need is Mr. Skopinski, and then we'll have a full house. Anyway, yeah, so you didn't miss much. I'm telling him about my guitar. I've had this guitar on the show before. When I first got it back from the shop. Oh, no, I'm well, we're on the wire, yeah. Yeah, she's zeroing in on your chair there, Bob. We got the Bob chair ready to go, and everything you need and more. Tout ce qu'il faut. Oh, you brought some.
I brought some words along. I thought, like I said, I thought we were upstairs tonight.
Oh no. We're. How is everything upstairs anyway?
Dead silent.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Didn't even see Tom.
Oh, really? He's probably hiding in his office. What if he went home and nobody noticed? Anyway. But no, we're back in business again, I think, or everything's as back to normal, if that's what they call this.
Well, usually they close down for 2 weeks of Christmas and New Year's, don't they?
Yeah, we're in a new regime now, I guess.
From before Christmas till after New Year's.
You know, before you got here, I didn't start yawning. Maybe you have a calming effect on us all. Well, anyway, so the thing I noticed about this is these are supposed to be noiseless pickups, but I'm getting this buzz out of my amp here when I have this on. But it's the same buzz that we're getting out of the monitor there, so the people in the control room can talk to us. You hear that buzz over there? Yeah. You hear this one right here?
I hear it from somewhere.
There's one right here, too.
Yeah, I think this is the one I'm hearing.
I turned it off. So nothing's coming out. I turned this off.
So it's coming out.
It's coming out of there, yeah, okay. All right. I've been in show business for a while. Actually, if I turn this way, I can't hear it anymore. Out of here. Maybe I could be like Bob Dylan and just turn my back to the audience for the whole show. You could sing a song about how I'm glad to see you're back. That's one of those things you could take two ways, Say, I'm glad to see you're back, which means I'm glad to see you have returned, or I'm glad to see that you're leaving. I'm glad to see you're back because you're leaving. Right? Anyway, things like that. Anyway.
Well, that's the other way around from the song about the honky-tonk badonkadonk.
Oh.
Hate to see her go, but we hate to see her leave, but we love to watch her go.
I see. It's a family show, though, Bob.
Okay.
Let me try to play this thing here. I brought this one. I brought another one. It's a Strat, which is a similar thing, old Mexican Strat that's been refitted with different pickups. And I'm going to play that one in a minute, but I'm going to do some here. The thing is that it's now in the single digits. It's gotten up to like 7 or something like that Fahrenheit here.
Yeah, I think it was 9 degrees when I was on the way in tonight.
Really? It's at 9. Well, maybe where you were. My car said it was like 7 or 8. Anyway, it's down. It's below 10 Fahrenheit. Last night it was 17 below. In the wee hours, I checked. So what I'm nattering on about is so the guitars I might want to take out, take with me to this show. I decided not to because it's like a little bit too brisk, So I figured these things, they're not going to care if they get cold in the car. So anyway.
I came in last week. It was 0 on the way in. When I left, it said 4, and I couldn't figure that out. Why would it be getting? Anyway, it was 4 below.
Oh yeah. Well, there you go. Well, I've been, my car has a thermometer and doesn't necessarily agree with banks that I drive past, but.
Well, they don't agree with each other either.
I know.
I'm usually like a degree or 2 off the banks.
So Mr. Skopinski is here. So now it's only 10 after, and now we're all here. So.
Did you find the solstice extravaganza on YouTube?
No.
But I checked again the other day. All I did, I searched for Tom's Guitar Show, and it was the first one at the top of the list that popped up
Oh. Oh,
on YouTube. Just go on YouTube, search for Tom's Guitar Show.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, because some people say they saw, I actually found it on the PATV channel.
Well, it might have been on that, but
I think it was
I
on
just searched-
PATV.
I
Yeah, it
just
hasn't made
searched
it
for
over
Tom's
to
Guitar
the to Tom's Guitar Show channel yet. Yeah. Well, good. I hope somebody watched it. I've got more than 4 views, I hope. You got one, maybe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it probably counted me, so there's one.
There's one, okay. Well, somebody else said they watched it too, and I actually found it, but I didn't have a chance to watch it when I was there. I was going to get back to it, but I didn't quite. But anyway, well, that's good. That was the Tom's Guitar Show Holiday Extravaganza, or whatever it was going to be. It was.
I'm sure several of our viewers missed that. So if they want to see it, it's on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Just
Search for Tom's Guitar Show.
yeah, or PATV, the channel. Yeah, I'm because of the way things have changed schedule-wise around here. We haven't actually loaded up a show onto the Tom's Guitar Show YouTube channel since October. So, and I think it's all because Keaton, whom I called Special K, then he moved away, he left. I don't think it's because I called him Special K. Maybe that's why he left. But
I thought he got a better job somewhere.
I think he always went to Chicago. I mean, you know.
Everybody goes to Chicago.
How do you keep him how do you keep him down on the farm when they've seen the Windy
No, the old
City?
guy with the whiskers went to California, didn't he?
Or somewhere, Colorado, somewhere.
Well, I mean, Doug.
Yeah, Doug.
Yeah, Doug went to. I think he went to Colorado, but I think he was kind of
Colorado.
keeping his destination private because I think he had a.
Had a warrant out for him?
Yeah, well, there's that. Yeah, but he did actually smash a guitar on the show, which is something we. I've gone out in the country and, yeah, he smashed one upstairs at Uptown Bill's, but I've actually shot a couple with pheasant guns, and I did that. It's never made it on the TV show. On the show though, it's the one where I'm dressed up in my overalls, which I almost did today, by the way. But
Yeah, today's the day for it.
yeah, well, put some.
Actually, it's a little warmer today than it has been the last couple days.
Yeah, we're well above zero now. But yeah, I had a great big pickaxe, and I leaned it up against an old shed, a guitar, and I went right through the top, like a hot knife through butter. But because it was a guitar, I was never going to play again. But the joke was, it's supposed to be for an instructional video where I say, well, I prefer to teach fingerstyle guitar, but you can use a pick. And then for the 1.5 seconds, you see some guy, in overalls, lots of plaid, looking from like an Iowan, like a stage Iowan, not like a regular Iowan. But anyway, but yeah, Doug actually smashed a guitar, and I don't want to feel responsible, but he was on the show, and it was going to be his So Long, I'm Moving Out of Town show, and he I think he was on probation or something, and he announced on the show that he was leaving, the next day, for somewhere, and then the police picked him up, and he spent another month in jail. And then he quietly sneaked out after he served that 30 days or so. Got on the megabus, and I think he went west. I don't know. But I think that the thing about that is that I don't know if I was responsible or if he was telling everybody down the Ped Mall he was leaving. I mean, I didn't ask him if he volunteered it. I just told him if you wanted to smash a guitar, it's okay with me. Just don't do any damage to the coffee house.
Yeah.
So that's all I was. Anyway, I'm gonna switch guitars. But yeah, well, Doug. I knew somebody. She said that they had a family dog was named Doug, Doug the dog, and I thought if I ever get another dog. I mean, I had a dog. I named him Professor Pangloss, because that's the kind of name of hey, Pangloss, and he goes, oh, because he knew his name. But I think Doug would be a good name for a dog, and I just think if he ever comes back to town and I had a dog, he might think I named after him, but maybe I won't. Never mind.
One of our dogs was named Julie, and we used to carpool, van pool to work, and there was Julie on the van. Wanted to know why we named the dog Julie, but actually we didn't. Our daughter did. But
I see. Well, we always named, my family always named dogs, things that, we named a dog Jason, because he's a golden retriever, so he was Jason of the Golden Fleece. And then just right after that, everybody started naming their kids Jason, their sons. So
yeah, we had one named Tip because his toes were white.
Oh, I see. This thing is the same. I'm still getting noise out of my amp. I'm sorry. This is a Stratocaster from. I'm gonna look at it again. Here, hang on, just 1 second. I just want to, because you can tell by the first digit or two. 6. I think these are 2006 models. Unless there's something I don't know about the serial numbers on the Mexican ones, like MZ or MX something 6 or whatever. So it's early anyway. Also, an old stock. I got it because I wanted the rosewood fingerboard, and I had another guitar. A new, us borrowing and fooling around with a little bit, Mexican Stratocaster as the deluxe model, and it was okay and everything, but it had these pickups, which are the vintage noiseless. They're supposed to sound like the older kind of pickups, but they're supposed to be noiseless. But I'm still getting the same buzz I'm getting out of that thing. It's probably one of these lights.
Yeah.
That light's new. Or that LED light up there?
That shouldn't radiate like those
Shouldn't.
fluorescents, though.
Another one over there too. Well, I don't know. Light and sound don't mix.
I think the only thing worse than fluorescents is neons.
Yeah, well, neons are terrible. Back in my troubled youth, I used to play in a bar, and I would string a long extension cord through all the booths and everything because I wanted to plug into the outlet that was as far away from the neon beer sign as possible. And I could still hear the buzzing, even when I was, because I was right in front of the front window and had the, Ham's the beer refreshing or whatever sign in it.
Yeah, the nice thing about neons is they're going away. Everybody's replacing them with these LEDs
Yeah.
as they go bad.
Hey, since we got you on camera, what did you bring for us there? Some pearls of wisdom here for.
You bet. The cop knocked on my door today, told me my dog was chasing people on bicycles. I said, my dogs don't have bicycles.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's good.
Nurse says, doctor, there's a patient on line 1 that says he's invisible. Doc says, tell him I can't see him now.
Yeah. Even better.
I saw an ad for burial plots. That's the last thing I need.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Is the dictionary on drugs high definition? There was a kidnapping at school, but he woke up.
Yeah.
I ordered 2,000 pounds of Chinese soup. It was wonton. I was addicted to hokey pokey, but I turned myself around.
Yeah. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Yeah.
Mexican magician was doing a trick. He said, "Uno, dos," and disappeared without a trace.
I see.
French eat snails because they don't like fast food. I was addicted to soap, but I'm clean now. The security at Samsung are guardians of the galaxy. Guy got fired at the calendar factory for taking a day off.
That's good. That's good. I like that.
I'm reading a book about anti-gravity. I can't put it down. If seagulls fly over the sea, do bagels fly over the bay?
I like that one too.
My computer has the Miley virus. It quit twerking.
Quit working.
And that's all I have today.
That's probably enough for it's enough for the rest of the month, I think. But that's pretty good, actually. That's pretty good. I like that. I think this is the first show where I've actually had these two guitars on together. They both have the, black. Well, this is one of them is black, and this one. These are all black, noiseless pickups, and the tortoiseshell pickguards. They're black Mexican Strats from a certain era. But this is sort of like my trying to get a specific sound. You can't. It sounds like a Strat, but anyway, it's just. I like this guitar. I just haven't quite gotten right with it. One problem I have is the frets are sticking out. Now on the sides because wood contracts, especially when it dries out. And I must say that anybody who have guitars or violins or cellos or anything like that at home. You should keep them stored with some sort of some humidity because it's very dry right now. If you noticed, all the moisture has been frozen out of the air, so it's quite dry.
Well, whatever we heat the house with, that's what takes the moisture out.
Well, that too, but I mean,
dries the house out.
But even outside, I mean, all the air is turned into ice crystals. The moisture in the air, so it's double whammy, forced air and all that. But so what happens is the wood contracts because there's supposed to be a certain amount of moisture in the wood, but the frets don't because they're metal. And also if you have acoustic instruments especially, maybe they're made of different kinds of wood. You got your spruce top and Engelmann spruce top from the Pacific Northwest or something. Maybe you got some Brazilian rosewood sides and back if you're rich. Maybe Indian rosewood if you're not quite so rich. Maybe something else. And then you have like the Adirondack spruce braces on the inside, and they all
expand at different rates.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and contract. In this case, so they're contracting at different rates. So what happens when the wood's being braced this way, or it's like built this way, and there's it's glued on the edges, and then it contracts. Something has to happen, and it splits apart. So that's why I took these tonight. But so I mean. My problem with this guitar is the frets always kind of stick out. In the middle of the summer, even though I'm keeping the room humidified, but in the summer it was barely noticeable, but I'm starting to notice again, even though I've kept the room. So I got to get some guy, or maybe I can learn how to do this. I can't really talk about the tool that you'd use on the show, could I? It's a rat-tailed bastard file. I can't say that on TV, can I?
Well,
that's what they call it.
Yeah, I know what that sort of. I know that is the name of a file.
Yeah. Leave it to the file clerks.
You can say that in the shop, but maybe not on TV.
Yeah,
at least not on a family show.
All right, I'm not going to say it then. So I mean, you tape around the edges, of the fret here on the side, and then you file it, and then you buff it and make it nice, or you pay a guy to do it for you, or somebody to do it for you. It's not always guy. There are plenty of more instrument repair women out there. Yeah. In fact, somebody who was on my show a number of times in the past, Banjo Kelly, because I was Guitar Tom, and she took banjo lessons from me, and we went. She's a smart person. But she had double major in English and bassoon at the University of Iowa, and so when she came into my orbit, I guess if that's what you call this, was at the last semester of her senior year of college. So she had finished that up, and then she kind of gave up on the bassoon. There's a name for that too, but I think I'll wait till after the show. They have a name for bassoon. Anyway, she was interested in banjo, so we actually did a lot of stuff. We did like a classic banjo thing where you read music and you transpose and you arrange. Kind of like, because basically my identity is more like a classical guitarist who went astray a long time ago. So so she did all that, but she had a jug band, and she played the farfisa organ, which is, of course, that electric organ from the 60s. If you ever heard the theme to Mod Squad back in the 60s, it'd get da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. There's an organ, that's a farfisa. There's a kind of a specific electric organ sound. So, but she was in a lot of bands.
Type?
What?
Is that a brand or a type?
I think it was a brand, but it was, they made like one organ or whatever. I think it was an Italian company, but it was an electric organ. It was very popular before the synthesizers, became. It was an electric organ that was popular. It was small, it was cheap, it was easy to carry, to fold up and put in a case. Unlike like the Hammond B3, which, weighs like 1,000 pounds or something.
Kind of like the electric keyboards people carry now.
Yeah, but it was sort of like the predecessor to that, but it only did a couple of things. Anyway, she played farfisa, and she played in bands. She had a jug band and various kinds of bands and stuff. She played banjo. She had her own band, and then she went off to instrument repair school. And she built her own. She made a banjo, a cookie tin banjo, which there's a class of instruments called canjos. We had one they had the diddley bow on the show one time. Really heard?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just play with a slide with one string. Made with like a cat food can or tuna can.
2x4 with a tuna can on the end of it.
Yeah. And there's a canjo. So she made a canjo. There's Royal Dansk cookies you can get. You got a big tin. Yeah. The funnest part was emptying the can. Apparently, she said, but one cookie at a time. Be. Yeah. Anyway, but so she learned how to fix, and she went to that luthier college in Red Wing, and learned how to build and fix guitars and banjos and mandolins and stuff. And then I wouldn't say I ever forgot about Banjo Kelly, but I was looking at my name, not for my ego, because I had that stamped out of me years ago in the music business, but just to see what they're saying about me, because I'm a minor public figure, and I show up and I play a lot, and by golly, if I didn't end up on her bio, that she studied with me, you see. So Banjo Kelly, I know you're not watching this show, you probably never make it to YouTube again, but I'm glad you're in North Carolina, living the dream, playing music and fixing the instruments. So, anyway, someplace where North Carolina is probably some place where the banjos need fixing. And anyway, yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's my testimonial. What I'm saying is, don't let your instruments dry out. What I'm doing here is I'm playing right on top of the fret. You're supposed to play right behind the fret. A nice clear sound, but if you play right, take the pressure off. I think I bent it over a little bit too much there. Give me a pitchfork. I'm also using this here, Fender Mustang amp. It's a couple of years old, I guess. It's one of the cheap ones, solid state. And I might have done something different today. You know, I was thinking about bringing some slightly more expensive guitars and a much more expensive amp than this with tubes in it, vacuum tubes. It's not a truck, it's tubes. That's an old one.
I'll bet your solid state one is much less sensitive to temperature than tube ones.
Right. Yeah. That was my thinking. I also, you know, if I use a tube amp and I've been playing it for a while, I don't want to move it. So like if I'm doing the show here, and then I'm, 7 o'clock comes around, we're done. I tend to turn off the amp right away, and then I pack away everything else first and let it cool down for at least 10 minutes before I take it out, because those tubes.
Can be a little delicate.
Well, you know what it costs to retube an amp? Well, I'll tell you, because it's like $120 for a fairly small amp with not as many tubes as some of them have.
They just don't make as many tubes as they used to. No mass production on tubes these days.
I think they get them from the Czech Republic or someplace. Yeah. So Electro-Harmonix had Sovtek. They would use, they made amps, but they seemed that they could get, the one thing was they had like leftover Soviet tank parts, they said, and I don't know if that's true. Maybe the metal things they got, that is, these effects pedals and these amps. But the thing was they could get the tubes from the former Soviet Union, sorry. This is some years ago. This is back when Gorbachev was just not Gorbachev, Putin. Gorbachev was in power. Putin was just like an ex-KGB guy looking for a new gig. But so the guy from Electro-Harmonix, who went out of business in New York, was building tube stuff because the Soviets had the tubes, not because they were retro, but because they hadn't gotten that into transistors yet. You see, so anyway. Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. Those were the days, I think that's a Russian song originally. Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. It sounds really Russian. I mean, the words in English, but I think it was based on a Russian song. And I don't know what it was, but anyway.
I have a couple versions of that. Mary Hopkins' version and Dolly's version.
Oh, yeah. I don't know when it came out, but I think we sang it in school when I was a kid, like junior high music class or something like that back in the...
I know Mary Hopkins was a Paul McCartney protege, so it would be after the Beatles came along.
Well, I got to 7th grade in 1969.
Oh, well, since the Beatles hit, 65?
Yeah. Yeah, so, anyway. So, anyway, my Strat. I I have several, but I kind of like this one. I just haven't really quite figured out what to do with it. I'm playing through this cheap amp because I didn't want to take the expensive or delicate amps out. I don't think this one cares if it gets cold in the car, and if for some reason it malfunctions, I'm not it's like $100 amp. So and I don't really like it that much. But anyway, yeah. But for all you other people out there, if you if your home is not humidified, you have forced air, at least you should string up your laundry in the room where you keep your guitar. One thing I noticed was I have the one steamed up room. I have these vaporizers, and then and they're steaming all the time. I keep filling them. I dump pitchers. I have the big lemonade pitcher. I dump water in these things during the day, and you can just sort of see how much water is going into the air. And they have a humidity gauge, and it's pretty steamy in there. And students come in up from outdoors, and their glasses, steam up like crazy. Maybe frost up in extreme cases, but the rest of the house is just really dry. And I do have actually a couple of instruments around the house. I kind of worry about my string bass, for instance. It's sitting there upstairs. I should probably humidify the upstairs. Maybe sleep better. The one thing I notice is if I wash jeans and I only dry them partially in the dryer, I hang them up to dry the rest of the way, and it doesn't take long. You see, in the middle of the summer, it's like 3 days, but now. Next day, they're dry as can be. So it's one of those. Anyway, yeah. So we should just take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
Okay? We can enjoy our fast-drying laundry, and I knew a woman who used to hang it outside year-round, and they would things would freeze solid, but then they'd dry out anyway because they would still evaporate somehow. But it'd be like stiff as a board, but then they would anyway. But she liked her dryer because she was superstitious. But here we go. Yeah, all right, I got a few minutes left, only a few. So I'm going to switch back to Telecaster. I do kind of like this Strat. I just haven't quite figured out how to, make peace with it. One thing I noticed is a Hyatt region. I think it's a Hyatt, or no, it's a Hilton or a Hyatt. I don't know. It's sprouted up here in town, like right by the new music building. Like
Oh, yeah.
Clinton Street
I
there.
don't know what it is either, but yeah.
Well, my boring story was that it was snowing a lot on Friday, and my gig was canceled. I found myself, the phone rang while I was actually hanging around a guitar shop, believe it or not. And my little pocket phone there, my $10 phone. And I had the night, so I went to the nail salon, got my nails done. Just they kind of like growing out. They grow out. I have to have, get the acrylic thing, put on. And then I was walking over to the hair art place to have my head edited also. So I went to a Vietnamese nail salon, and then I went around to a Korean hairstylist, which has a virtue of being very quick and very inexpensive. And but on my way, I saw this hotel, and they had apparently have a cocktail lounge or something. They had like a picture, like a neon or whatever sign of a martini glass for the very top.
Yeah.
I thought, I want a gig where I can play like my gentle fingerstyle guitar. Not when I'm talking to people like this and everything, and I shave and dress fairly nice and everything. But I want a gig on some place where I can have I can overlook the rooftops of Iowa City and the lights in the distance. I want a gig like that. I still want to keep my Tuscan Moon gig on the weekends, where I was on New Year's for 5 hours, New Year's Eve. I was still home before midnight, though, because there's a lot of people there. The owners and other people who hang around there are actually even older than I am, so they like to get to bed. But anyway, I'm just thinking, oh man, I'd like to have a lounge gig in some sort of penthouse, lounge. That would be my, not a big lofty goal, but one of my minor goals. Because I played at the DoubleTree in Cedar Rapids a couple times, like for special parties, and they're way up at the top. It used to be called the Five Seasons Center Hotel or whatever like that, but now it's a DoubleTree. But anyway, and there's big windows, and it overlooks the rooftops of Cedar Rapids, which are usually pretty squalid. But there are a couple rooftop, looks like a little cabin on somebody's rooftop.
Yeah.
I wonder what it's like up there. So that's what I want at night. Anyway,
Better work on a big playlist.
I've got a pretty big playlist.
Yeah.
But see, my problem is tie a little yellow ribbon around the old oak tree, and say, don't tell me that. I'm trying to get that out of my head. I know over 1,000 songs, okay, that I can just play. But, there are thousands more I don't want anything to do with. I've actually done some Rolling Stones songs, for instance. I do Angie and Wild Horses. You see, so if people want, because those are ones that a fingerstyle guitar player can make sound pretty good. So I say, okay, that's my thing. I can do play some Stones, and so I'll go like a. A little bit up, anyway. There's a.
Yeah, wonder what age group fills the lounges these days.
I don't know if anybody fills lounges these days. That's the thing. So I was thinking about that because I haven't really played in a college bar per se for a very, very long time. And even when I did, I was like filling in for some other guy.
I doubt if it'd be a college crowd on the, a rooftop lounge on a hotel.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they're Chinese college kids. I don't know. Who's got the bucks? Yeah, I don't know. I just, I don't know. I guess the other thing is I leave myself open because in a sense, I want to do my own artistic thing.
Yeah.
But I kind of make these decisions because I find I can do my own artistic thing, but I don't get around to playing guitar much because I've got this full-time job that's got nothing to do with guitar things,
Yeah.
I was starving in the streets of California in my youth, and then I came back here and I got a job at ACT and shuffling the papers around and training people and stuff like that. And I did pretty well at it, actually. They promoted me, and then they promoted me again. And then I had medical dental insurance, not that much pay, but,
Yeah.
And then I started realizing I had my guitar in the corner of my little apartment, and I hadn't really played the thing very much because I get home, because I was on the second shift, 4 to midnight. So I get home, 1 o'clock in the morning or something like 12:30, and I'd watch reruns of Ironside or something on the little black and white TV, and there's this buzzing, and the next day I didn't get around to
Or you're not going to set a fire on the bonnet of that $100,000 Jaguar, are you?
huh.
I worked second shift for a while. You come home and they got, well, there's shows on all night now, but then mostly everything went off around midnight, and what was on was these infomercials.
Right. Right, yeah. Well, this is actually so long ago, that's before
Where
the
there's a
information.
will, there's an A.
No, I see, yeah. I remember that I used to have rabbit ears in an infomercial. It was hard to get anything that wasn't. My one problem was that Girls Gone Wild was on infomercial or whatever it was on.
Yeah.
And all the cheap channels I could get with my rabbit ears had that on it. And I wanted to, because there were like, reruns of Seinfeld and Frasier and stuff like that. And I didn't mind watching those, and Just Shoot Me. But after those went off, then it was nothing but infomercials, and it was like the same Girls Gone Wild infomercial, like on all the UHF stations. And I can't watch that stuff because they're taking advantage of these drunk kids, who don't know any better. And anyway.
That's when I came over here. Peoria has always been all UHF. A lot of downstate Illinois is. So I brought along a UHF antenna when I came over here, and there was a Quad City station, channel 18 or something, that had Benny Hill on every night.
Uh-huh.
So I put my UHF antenna to good use.
I suppose, yeah. I was just watching some Benny Hill on YouTube, anyway. But oh yeah, it was, 5 minutes left, and we're talking about Benny Hill, and I used to watch KYOU Fox 15 out of Ottumwa. That was my station. I hate this buzzing I'm getting out of this amp, but I kind of like these. The tone sounds pretty good. Because this is really quiet at home. Even my house, which is really noisy, but somehow something up there is. So you have a chord like this. You got your D minor 9. I could make it like a D7 flat 9. These are all very evocative, make you feel something. Another chord I like here, I've been thinking about these chords like a 6/9. Here's a 6, here's a 9, and this. I like that. How about that? This is a major 9. All augmented. We're almost out of show here, and I'm just goofing around with my my cold weather guitars, and I'm thinking about one of my favorite subjects, chord theory. And I'm not even sure if I'm that good at it necessarily. You know, I kind of came to it late in life. I kind of grew up as a classical guitarist, and then I was, dismayed when I was in high school. And in junior high, I was one of the better, if not the best, string bass player. So I got the jazz band gig. I get to high school, and I'm far from the best bass player. So they say, "Oh, you play guitar? Well." And I didn't have an electric guitar, let alone a jazz guitar. I had a classical guitar, but I got in the jazz band, and all of a sudden I saw these chords: E flat minor 7 flat 5 or flat 9. E flat minor 7 flat 9. Can't play it. Sorry. How about E minor 7 flat? E flat 7 flat 9. How about E 9 flat 5? How about sharp 9 flat 5? How about sharp 9 flat 5? These chords come up all the time, and it take me a minute to I had to look them up in the chord dictionary. I still have that encyclopedia of chords, 4,400 chords. If you got the book, then you don't need to worry about it, right? You just look them up, like while you're sight reading music in the band. Anyway, and so that's when I realized I didn't know anything about this chord theory thing. And because in classical guitar, you just read the notes on the page. Not just because that's really hard to do too. I mean, it's like really hard music, and try to get the composer's intent and figure out how to do it. It's not that easy. But with jazz, you got to figure out how to do your own thing with the with this equation in front of you. Plus, you got to keep the beat. So I started thinking about that a little bit. I mean, I kept with the classical guitar, but over the years, some of jazz guitar players can sight read complicated chords and know exactly what they are right away. I can do that with most of the chords, but I get stumped. But the more I do it, the more I get stumped. The more I say, "Well, how do you do?" I don't have to look it up anymore. I figure it out, and then I get it, and then now it takes a few seconds to figure it out instead of 2 minutes with the chord dictionary. Anyway, I'll be at the Northside Bistro on Thursday, I think. Iowa City, Tuscan Moon over the weekend. You can fade out anytime you want, man.